While I'm back in New Hampshire, I made the grave mistake of not bringing my laptop to Toledo. So I wasn't really able to make a whole lot of what I captured in my experience there, at least not there. I filmed a decent amount, but I wasn't able to edit it properly, mostly because I was editing on my phone, which normally works out pretty well, but mostly it's the 360 camera footage that I'm thinking about during the race that I just got super frustrated with and wasn't able to really do anything because using the Insta360 app is just a complete garbage fest. But to give you a little bit of a summary of the trip, now Samantha and I are we're always up for a challenge. We're always up for an adventure. We both kind of believe that you should always do hard things with your children, vacations, difficult situations, not putting them in a difficult situation per se, but just doing a 17-hour train ride. We believe it makes us better parents. We think it makes more resilient kids. And frankly, usually most of the time it makes better memories. So we decided to do the 17-hour train from Boston, leaving out of South Station, right into Toledo. Our train left at about 12:30 in the afternoon and would get into Toledo at about 6 a.m. When we got on the train, now we've taken the train, the Amtrak, many times, and there's usually a generously powerful amount of Wi-Fi, enough to stream a Netflix show. I've watched many shows and content on the train using exclusively the Wi-Fi without any sort of issue. But this time around, there wasn't any Wi-Fi. I don't know why, but we didn't know that till we got on the train, so we were not prepared to have anything loaded up for the iPads or anything of that nature. And then additionally, the huge dad fail moment, I forgot the Nintendo Switch that Caden was desperately looking forward to as kind of the moment, the highlight of the train trip was that he was going to spend the night on the train and he was going to have the Switch and he could play the Switch as much as he wanted. But as soon as we got on the train and he said, "Daddy, did you bring the Switch?" my heart exploded and my adrenaline shot to 100. And of course, Evelyn is just about to be 2, and she is an immense ball of energy at all times, very squirmy. We were going to be in the Hurt Locker for 17 hours, and that was a bit of a panic because we were just like, oh, we're stuck on this train. It wasn't great. Evelyn could not sit in her seat. She wanted to walk up and down the train, which all things we were mentally preparing for, but when you're actually in the heat of the moment and then you know that, okay, there's going to be no modern iPad or content equipment for them to watch, now we're transporting back into, like the 1960s, taking kids on the train, and we just kept saying to ourselves, well, people did this. Sam luckily had her carrier, so she just held Evelyn and rocked her until she fell asleep. Of course, she screamed her lungs out the entire time, so you can imagine you're on a train full of people who are trying to sleep or trying, whatever. It's like being on a crowded airplane. And yes, you can get up and walk on the train, but there's a limitation to how much of that you can actually do. The aisles are really small. It's not like they can go run and be crazy. And Caden did fantastic, and Evelyn did fantastic too, given the circumstances of her age and her level of energy. But finally, they did fall asleep. Caden fell asleep, and we made a little bed for him on the floor. Evelyn fell asleep on Sam in the carrier, and Sam kind of laid back and was eventually able to transfer her out of the carrier and onto the seat of the train. And that's when things got easier, but the stress was still there. At one point, the train stopped. Evelyn fell off of the seats onto Caden. Luckily, Sam had mom reflexes and woke up just to catch her just in time, so there was no real impact, and the kids were able to all stay asleep. And finally, we did arrive in Toledo, and we got off the train. I slept almost none at all. I've been watching Better Call Saul, so I was sleeping about an hour, and then I'd wake up and watch an episode, and then I'd sleep maybe another hour, and then I'd wake up another episode. I can't sleep. I have to be laying horizontal in order to sleep, and there's just no way that I can do that given my height and size and in the size of those seats. So I slept almost none. Sam got pretty much next to zero sleep as well. So then we arrived in Toledo at 6 a.m. and we were up, and I was so confused as to what time it was. I kept thinking it was nighttime, but it was daytime, and it was we felt really, really jet lagged. We both took little naps. That was it. Next day, wake up, go to the event. Caden runs his kids run, family members run the 5K. Sam and my sister-in-law, they walk the 5K with the 2 little ones, which was great. It was a really great day. It was a really great trip. The next day, I ran the half marathon, and I kept saying that I'm so much more anxious about the train return trip home than I am regarding the half marathon. we were so concerned about the train trip home because of the experience that we had going down that we even looked at like, do we fly back? Like, does Sam and Evelyn just fly back and then Caden and I take the trip? Because our train trip tickets were refundable. Not that it was that big of a deal, because it was $50 per person one way. So we'd only be refunding $50. And the flights were pretty expensive, you know, like $300 one way for her. Evelyn would be free because she's under 3. Well, she's a lap child. I think it's actually 2. But either way, the biggest problem, though, with Toledo is that your 2 closest airports are Cleveland and Detroit, which are both about an hour and some change away. And we didn't have a car seat. We were using my sister's neighbor's car seat while we were there, and so we couldn't take that. We didn't have any way to get back. We did have, my brother was leaving out of Detroit, and then my other brother was driving through Cleveland on his way home, so we did have rides out there, but the biggest hang up was that there was no car seat. But then additionally, on top of that, both the flights are expensive. None of them are ideal, I mean, if you want to go direct, and we have the car seat issue. And then it was also like, well, what if there's a delay and Sam is by herself with Evelyn, I'm on a train, we would have all of this stuff. You know, we're thinking like this could just be so much worse. And so finally, after we had about 48 hours distancing from the trip back, we were like, you know what, we can just do this. You know, we're prepared now. We know let's be prepared for no internet. Let's just load up everything onto the iPads. Let's pack a bunch of food, different snack situation, because we weren't really prepared for that either. I mean, we were, but we weren't. It's you expect the worst, and then the reality is as bad, if not worse, in a different way that you weren't expecting. So, yeah, we decided to take the train back. It left at 3:30 in the morning, so we were all up, basically, 2 and some change in the morning, get the kids out the door. They had at least slept that, so we didn't have to worry about doing any kind of bed put down. We weren't sleeping on the train. They were going to have to nap, but they weren't sleeping on the train. Caden took a nice long nap in the morning. Evelyn took a little bit of a nap in the morning, but then it was pretty much smooth sailing. I have to say the return trip was so much more enjoyable, for no real other reason, even iPads and stuff, because Evelyn didn't really watch the iPad all that much. Caden did a little bit, but it was more just the mental preparation. We were just in it now, and we weren't thinking about how bad it was. We were just thinking about like, okay, this is the only way out is through. And it was much more pleasant. It was still 17 hours on the way back. And I don't know. We just focused our energy on keeping Evelyn entertained, having her get up, walking her, taking turns doing that. She was able to take about a 2-hour nap in the afternoon, so that killed some time. So it was just a much smoother situation. Now, what was funny, so if you're not familiar with an Amtrak, most of your stops are just a few minutes, just to unload and to load and offload passengers. But every once in a while, they have to do something where they like split the carts or whatever, something with timing. And so some of your stops are longer. So we had one stop in, I believe it was Troy, Albany, and it was about an hour, a little bit under. And so everybody's able to get off of the train, and so they call it a fresh air break. So we all get off the train, everyone leaves our stuff, and we go into the train terminal, and we're getting snacks and sandwiches or what have you. And Sam takes the kids on, and I'm still checking out. I'm bringing food back, and I'm juggling all this food. I'm trying to get on the train because they're like doing the last call. And Sam texts me and said, "Hey, there's a guy on this train who's going through people's things." I'm like, okay, I don't really know what to do with that information, but it sounds crazy. Let me get on. So I get on the train, and it's just chaos, because Evelyn's trying to climb over the seat, and she's like screaming, and everything's quiet, and she's losing her mind. So I'm taking her back off the train to walk because we have like a couple more minutes before the train leaves. So I'm like, let me burn out this energy while I can. And I come back on, and Sam's like, this guy is stealing this other guy's phone charger. So across from us is the whole train ride was one man who was on the passenger side, the window side, and now that guy went out, and now there's this new guy sitting on the aisle side, and he's got like sunglasses and this big coat. So my initial thinking, he's getting on, and Sam's like, that guy is stealing shit from people. And I'm thinking, I don't know. And meanwhile, the conductor is asking for our tickets because they have to recheck everyone's tickets again because everyone got off and back on. So I'm scrambling. I'm trying to get my phone. Caden wants to play Mario on my phone. So I'm like I give it to him, and then I'm trying to get it back from him. He's all confused. The lady's asking. I've got Evelyn hanging off of me. There's food, and then Sam's telling me some guy's stealing. And I'm like completely over. I'm spinning. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then so the guy who is on the window seat, whose stuff he was apparently going through, gets on and sits down and is having this weird, awkward conversation. And then the conductor comes up and asks the sunglasses guy, the sketchy guy, I need to see your ticket. And so he pulls out a Metro card from like the old ones that aren't even around in New York City anymore. They don't even do the Metro cards anymore. He pulls out a Metro card and she goes, I don't need a Metro card. I need an Amtrak ticket. Do you have an Amtrak ticket? And he goes, oh, no, I didn't. And she's like, okay, well, you got to get off this train. And he's like, okay. And he starts to stand up. And Sam leans over and goes, sir, talking to the window side guy. He goes, sir, did you have a charger right there? And he goes, yeah, I did. And she goes, okay, he has your charger. And the guy is like, what do you do? You have my stuff? And he goes, well, yeah, but I thought it was mine. And he pulls the phone charger out. And he's got these 2 bags. And then there's this duffel bag up there, which belongs to the window guy. And the lady's like, sir, you don't have a ticket and you're stealing stuff from people. You need to get off this train. And so he's like, all right, I'm going to get off the train. And he goes to grab the window guy's bag and walk off of it. And the guy's like, stop, that's my bag. You can't just take my bag. And so he's scrambling off and Sam's screaming, like yelling over. She's like, I don't think these, because he has 2 other bags. He's like, I don't think these bags are his, and they don't look like his. Like one of them's like a woman's bag purse thing. And so there's all this chaos because people are trying to get on the train and off the train at the same time. Then they got this other guy who's like security who's ushering him off, and then these 2 passengers are fighting. And Sam is like, saving the day over here. And so anyways, they kick that guy off. He gets his phone charger back or whatever, and he leaves with 2 bags. And I'm thinking that this is this guy's like thing. He gets on the train. The moment when he was like, the lady was like, if you don't have a ticket, you got to get off. He's like, okay, just no pushback whatsoever. So that's his thing. He gets on. He goes through people's things while everyone's in the train station. He grabs a couple bags and then he leaves. So that was it. But yeah, that was a chaotic story. So long story short, we finish out the end of our ride. We get into Boston South Station at 8:30 at night. Then we take the bus from South Station to Nashua for 9:30. So then we get into Nashua at 10:30. Then we drive home. It's 11, kids, everything. So we didn't get it until 11:30. And then I had to wake up this morning and go to work. And now I proceed to have what is kind of the Super Bowl for my job this week. And then we leave on another trip. So that was my trip, but over really good. The half marathon, I ran just over 2 hours. I wasn't pushing. I had no goal because I haven't really been training for this. It just was sort of a for funsies thing. And I was kind of thinking if I can just do a sub 2 hour half, I'll be happy. But I was 2 hours and 1 minute. I was actually 2 hours and 1 minute and I think 40 seconds. So I missed my goal by about 1 minute and 40, but I mean, I was happy. I had fun. I felt great afterwards, except one exception is my left calf is so tight. It's unbelievable. I think it was because I ran the half marathon and then got no sleep and then was and sat on a train for 17 hours and then got no sleep again. And now here I am. So my body's just tired. Everything when I woke up this morning, the whole weekend caught up to me and I was just so deeply exhausted. And I'm still deeply exhausted. I was so happy to slide into bed last night. I'm really looking forward to getting into bed tonight and getting like a full night of sleep because I have a lot to get done this week, a very stressful week. I mean, not stress, it's a lot. It's an intense week. But it was really, really fun to see family. I think we've done this before where we go out and do like the marathon weekend in Toledo because that's where my sister and her family lives. And I've only been to it twice. This would be my second time going out there. My family's done it a bunch more times. But I'd say this was the better of the two in terms of weekend. I just had a lot of fun. I was really glad I didn't do the full marathon. There was a period of time in the winter where I was thinking I would train for the full. But I just had too much stuff going on this spring to be able to maintain the training. And being on that trip, I was so glad that I wasn't because I was like, if I was doing the full marathon, I would just be like fully focused on the like I wouldn't be able to enjoy myself. But running the half, I was still able to enjoy it. But I was more stressed about that train ride, which I'm glad is over. I would do it again, not with a 2-year-old. Not with a 2-year-old. I love trains. I love train travel. I love the idea of doing long distance trains. Caden was great. Evelyn was great, but she's just 2 years old, and that's the reality. So probably won't be doing a long haul train trip until the kids are a little bit older. We might do something short haul, but yeah, that was the adventure. But I'm sitting outside because it's a beautiful day. I'm just getting some B-roll. I'm going to get back to that.